Hi, folks. This is Elgin Subway Surfer Bowling, your creative caricature marketing consultant. And man, I love to draw kids. And you should too. If you're a caricature artist, let me tell you, one of the biggest ways, one of the biggest paydays that you're going to have is for drawing kids, period. If you don't like kids, I'm telling you, get over it, because you're going to find that more parents, more schools are more apt to hire you to draw pictures of their kids than there are adults. Adults have a tendency to be kind of, stuffy. They kind of know about the reputation for caricature, and they may not want to be exaggerated, but kids seem to love it. They're into cartoons and everything, and so that's why that's going to be a big payday for you. I recently had the pleasure of drawing kids at a local Manhattan middle school, where the fifth graders were graduating. And it's funny, I began to think about how, as I'm drawing kids, I really get kind of introspective. It's really an emotional kind of experience for me, because especially drawing preteens, when they're kind of like in the fifth grade, when they're like 10 and 11, they're not yet 13, they're still kind of a little kid, kind of with that mentality, and they're kind of discovering who they are, and so their personalities are, really kind of open. They're not as guarded. But what I've noticed about them, is that sometimes when I'm drawing them, I can get a sneak preview of what their personality, is kind of going to be like. And it's always interesting, to just kind of see and guess what the kid's personality is. And I've done lectures on this site of don't draw the person, draw the personality. If you draw the personality of the person and you really zero in on that, you'll actually get a superior likeness. So without further ado, let me give you examples of what I mean. Take this kid right here, for instance. Now look at his expression, okay? That's the exact expression the kid had when I drew him. And when I was looking at this kid, I noticed that a lot of kids at this age have this kind of apathetic, whatever type of expression on their face. And whenever I see that, I said, man, I got to kind of speculate, is something going on, at home that he's unsatisfied with? Is something going on in the classroom? Is this kid being picked on, or is he a really, really smart kid and just bored with life? Is he not being challenged? It's just very interesting when I see a face like this, apathetic. I don't get the kids, if they look like this, to smile, because my philosophy on drawing is let the kid look the way that he looks so that he recognizes himself. And like I said, these kids are usually not jaded at this age. If you show them themselves, they'll pretty much laugh about the whole thing, because a lot of times they're kind of unaware of how they're looking. This is another kid, again, same type of bored, apathetic, slightly melancholy type of expression, and when I draw this, it does make me feel kind of sad. I try to do some things where I tell the kids jokes, where I try to cheer them up, I try to ask them questions on what they like to do, and I really do try to encourage them for the few minutes that I'm there at the party. I remember I did one party of a kid where a kid was a notorious bully, okay? He was picking on the kids, pushing them around. And I told this kid, I said, hey, listen, I noticed that, you're really kind of aggressive and you're not scared of anybody or anything like that, which he admitted. I said, you're really a leader. You're kind of like a superhero. People like you, they grow up to be cops, they grow up to be soldiers, they grow up to be people who protect other people, and so you've kind of got a superpower here because you're kind of fearless, and you should use that power, not to push people around, but to protect them, because, you're stronger than them. Don't you know that for the rest of that party, man, that kid, his chest was stuck out. He actually received that affirmation that I gave him, and I frequently try, I always try to do that when I'm drawing kids. Love this kid right here. He sat down right in front of me, put his face, you know, practically next to mine, leaned forward and just did that, just smiled real big, like that, very in your face, very kind of aggressive. His eyes kind of disappeared like this, and I said, God, this kid's definitely an extrovert, definitely has that leadership quality, not, afraid to put himself out there, a lot of energy. I mean, even the style of his hair looks like it can't even wait to kind of get off of his head. They're like wings, they're like feathers, Big grin, lots of gaps in his teeth, but the kid just kind of didn't care, about it. And I just saw, that confidence, that aggression, that he had. But it wasn't kind of an aggression in a negative kind of way. It was a positive, kind of aggression. Now, here's something else that was interesting. This kid actually came to the party. He came like kind of in a suit, with he kind of came. Everybody was kind of casual in jeans and everything, and this kid right here kind of came, in a suit. He had taken the jacket off because I guess some kids started teasing him, and then he had like a vest on, and he had like a big camera where we was documenting everything and taking pictures, and you could see in his eyes that this kid is like really inquisitive. He wants to know why is this happening? Why is that happening? Why did you say this? How come this? Blah 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 blah. So he's got, I could just see, just based on the way his face looks, that kind of animated kind of expression he had. That, I swear, the kid had a big Kool-Aid smile like that on his face, most of the time. Very inquisitive, very eager, very I don't know, just energetic. It was just kind of spilling out of his pores, and I could just see that he's going to be one of those brilliant guys who's going to probably make up the cure for cancer, or something like that. Either that or be a crazy video game designer. Who knows? Here's another. This is actually one of my favorite ones, even though, it's kind of another depressing one. Another one of these sullen kind of kids who got his lip out. He's kind of sort of looking up at you, whatever, I mean, I like to look at this picture, but again, when I see a kid, like this, my heart kind of goes out to him, because I just kind of say to myself, somebody's wounded this kid in some kind of way. I don't know if it's classmates. I don't know if it's some kind of situation at home, teachers, or maybe it's just something, that, he feels, about himself, and, this kid was like quiet the most time, just kind of came over there, because this is the thing that they had to do, for the party, and, and my heart just goes out to this kid. I find myself kind of saying, prayers, over a kid, like that. This kid, this final one, oh man. Talk about personality. This kid came over. First of all, he's got this Johnny Neutron hair. The thickest black hair, greased down, that I've ever seen. And it kind of shot up in the air like that and was parted. And he had this kind of... The kid knows that he's an alpha male. Even though he's like, 4 feet tall, the kid knows that he's an alpha male. He knows that he's the one all the girls are looking at. He knows that he's all the one the guys want to be like and hang out with. And he just kind of carried himself with that sort of arrogance and that confidence, and also, I could see this kind of aggression in his face. And later on, I'm drawing some of the girls who I'm not going to show you because they're no fun to draw a lot of times. Sorry, ladies. I mean, you always want to look pretty. You never want me to goof on you, and I don't. But anyway, this guy, later on in the party, one of the girls says, "Oh, look, Johnny's having a fight. He's putting cake in the other guy's face." And the girls were like kind of like drooling over the fact, that this little macho guy had started a fight with another kid when it was actually, smashing cake into his face. But man, I just love to draw kids' parties. I mean, if you're going to be a caricature artist, that's where you're going to get the most of your experience drawing cartoons. If you like to be if you are kind of a caricature artist and your style leans mostly to cartoons, this is the type of parties that you mainly want to be booking for yourself. Not that you can't draw cartoons of adults if that's your style, but I'm telling you that kids eat that kind of style up, and you can get a lot of practice, and they'll always give you a lot of positive energy and affirmation.